Matrices. A matrix is a rectangular arrangement of numbers in rows and columns. A rectangular arrangement of numbers in rows and columns. So rather than try to list a set of numbers, one way that you can organize numbers is by putting them in a matrix. And so a matrix looks something like this. So this matrix has dimensions. In fact, all matrices have dimensions. And the way that the dimensions are set up is you have the number of rows in the matrix times the number of columns in the matrix. So the rows go this way, and then the columns go this way. So for instance, this matrix we would say is a 2 rows by 3 columns. So I would say this is a 2 by 3 matrix. And it's important to know the size and dimensions of a matrix whenever you start adding, subtracting, and multiplying matrices. So if a 2 by 2 matrix would look like this. 2 rows, 2 columns. This one would be a 3 by 1 because I have 3 rows and 1 column. Each number inside of a matrix is called an element or an entry. I've seen it called 2 different things. So for instance, this would be the element that is in row 2, column 1. This element would be in row 2, column 2. This element would be row 1, column 3. Whenever you add or subtract matrices, the 2 matrices must be the same size. That's not true when we start talking about multiplication, but when you add or subtract, the 2 matrices must be the same size. So let's just make up a couple of matrices here. So this one. So what I have is a 2 by 3 and adding a 2 by 3. So that means that the answer is also going to be a 2 by 3. It will have 2 rows and 3 columns. Whenever you add matrices, you add the same elements together. So row 1, column 1 is going to be added to row 1, column 1. So 0 plus -1 would be -1. Row 1, column 2, 5 plus 7 would be 12. 1 plus 1 would be 2. 1 plus 4 would be 5. 7 plus 3 would be 10. And 3 plus 0 would be 3. So they have to have the exact same number. You can see how if these weren't the same size, so let's say this whole column wasn't here, when I get ready to add this one, if there's not one in the same spot, then you can't add them together. So that's why they have to be the same size. I want to do a subtraction one with you just because kids get a little messed up on subtraction. And let's make this one a 3 by 2. So the other one has to be a 3 by 2. So we can put these together by subtracting. but we have to make sure that they have the same dimensions. And with subtraction, what I like to do is sometimes it's hard to remember that you're going to subtract every time. So what I like to do is just change this to addition and change the sign of everything in here. And now I have a simple addition problem. So 1 plus -7, -6. -1 plus 2 is 1. 2 plus -11 is -9. 6 plus 3, 9. -7 and, or excuse me, -6 and 7 is 1. 1 is 9. So addition and subtraction isn't too terribly bad. Let's talk about a scalar. A scalar is a real number that you will multiply. When you multiply by a scalar, you multiply by each element. So if I had a scalar and a matrice, then when you see a scalar next to a matrice, that means multiply. So we'll just do the distributive property. 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 times 2 is 6.